I'm picking out table linens and tasting cake flavors with someone who still won't show me their bank account. Every day it shows up in small practical ways. Bills get split, but not evenly or clearly. Rent comes out of my account because it always has, utilities rotate depending on who remembers first, and groceries somehow land on my card more often than we admit. When wedding invoices arrive, I forward them and wait. Sometimes they Venmo me part of it right away. Sometimes they say they'll get to it later and I cover it so the vendor doesn't hold the date. There's no shared spreadsheet, no joint planning document, no agreed system. Just a series of transfers and apologies and jokes about how weddings are expensive. They keep their phone close when they're checking money apps. If I walk into the room, the screen tilts away without thinking. Once, a notification popped up from a bank I didn't recognize. When I asked about it, they said it was an old account they never use. Another time, I noticed a debit card in their wallet with a different logo than the one I know. They laughed and said they like to keep things organized. We don't have a shared account. We've never sat down and listed what we each owe, earn, or plan to save. The conversations just don't land. When I bring up long-term stuff like buying a place someday, or how we'll handle expenses once we're married, they say we'll figure it out after the wedding. If I push a little more, they say talking about money kills the romance and turns everything into a business meeting. They say we're in love, not negotiating a merger. Then they kiss me or change the subject or start talking about the honeymoon. The moment passes. Publicly, we look aligned. We tell people we're excited. We post engagement photos. Family members ask how planning is going, and we talk about venues and colors and dates. Privately, when it comes to finances, everything stays loose and undefined. I notice how they light up discussing the ceremony details but go flat when I mention budgets beyond the wedding. The future stays vague. We'll see. That's a later problem. Let's just enjoy this part. I tell myself I might be overthinking it. I wonder if this is just how some people are with money. I tell myself they've always paid their share eventually. I minimize it by saying we're not married yet, so maybe it makes sense to keep things separate. I even tell myself it's kind of mature not to rush into combining finances. Sometimes I worry that asking too many questions makes me sound controlling or unromantic. I don't want to be the person who turns an engagement into a checklist. We met in a normal way. A friend invited us both to a small get-together after work. We talked about our jobs, complained about rent, bonded over the same takeout place being overpriced. It wasn't dramatic. We exchanged numbers, went on a few dates, and kept seeing each other because it was easy and consistent. Nothing about money came up beyond casual comments about being broke or saving for something small. Early on, things felt stable. We both had routines. We both paid our own way. There was comfort in not needing to depend on each other financially. It felt adult and low pressure. We split dinners. We alternated buying groceries. There was predictability in knowing I could handle my side and they handled theirs. It reduced anxiety because nothing felt tangled yet. The first small shift happened when we moved in together. We talked about splitting rent and utilities but never put anything in writing. The first month went fine. The second month, they asked if I could cover the full utility bill because they were waiting on a paycheck. I said yes. When I asked later if we should adjust how we split things going forward, they said not to stress about it and that it would even out. I let it go. After that, the pattern started forming. Money conversations got postponed. If I tried to bring something up, it was brushed aside with humor or reassurance. When I didn't bring it up, everything stayed pleasant. If I did, the mood shifted. They'd get quiet or say I was making things heavier than they needed to be. I learned to edit myself. I'd start a sentence and then stop. I tell myself it wasn't the right time. In public, they talk about our future confidently. In private, details disappear. I notice that silence is rewarded. If I don't ask questions, we have good nights. If I do, things feel tense. The cost of speaking is discomfort. The reward for staying quiet is harmony. I defend this to myself and to others. When friends ask how we're handling finances, I say we're flexible and modern about it. I say every couple does it differently. I know this sounds small, but I tell myself love isn't about spreadsheets. At the same time, I'm the one tracking deposits, deadlines, and what's already been paid. I'm planning a future while excluded from its realities. I stay because we're engaged. Because people know. Because there are deposits down on the venue and the photographer. Because our families are excited and already talking about travel plans. Because calling it off would mean explaining something I can't quite explain yet. I stay because I've already invested time, energy, and money into this life. I stay because part of me believes we'll have the conversations later, when things calm down. Leaving feels harder than it looks. It would mean losing non-refundable deposits. It would mean telling parents who have already told their friends. It would mean untangling a shared apartment and shared plans. It would mean admitting that something fundamental never got addressed. There's a real cost to stopping now, and it's not abstract. Nothing dramatic has happened. There wasn't a big fight or a shocking discovery. It's more like a quiet accumulation. Another invoice I cover. Another conversation that gets deferred. Another reminder that I don't actually know what I'm marrying into financially. It lingers with me longer than it should. Right now I'm still inside it. I haven't decided anything. I'm aware of the gap, but I'm not sure what it means yet. We're still planning, still smiling in photos, still talking about the day. I'm just doing it while holding this unanswered question in the back of my mind. So I keep wondering as the date gets closer and the details pile up, what exactly am I agreeing to marry into?